Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. Yes, we are live at 7 p.m. on the East Coast, and this time we have Twitter. Last night we did not have Twitter, but now we do. So awesome. We have Twitter, we have Facebook, and we also obviously have YouTube. So thank you guys for watching. I appreciate it tremendously. As always, please like, comment, share. This matters tremendously. We have to like, comment, and share so that people know that we are rocking and rolling, that we're here and we can grow our own media. And of course, if you have some cash, I'd love to take some of your cash so I can keep doing this every single day. I'm done with my campaigning for New York State. So I'm now doing this just about every night, 7 p.m. Sponsor $10 per month, $25 per month. Or if you're filthy rich, do $100 per month because you got all that cash flowing. But if you don't, no worries. Like, comment, and share is free. So please do that right now so that we can rock and roll. Now, today, if you saw what I talked about, what I brought up there was the idea of the war, not being meant to end. For those of you who know what that means, that's a quote from 1984, George Orwell. And he talks about the idea that conflict is what makes everything keep moving. That's how, we keep everybody in check through fear and hate, and we keep everybody in check. I wish it was not true. Sadly, it is sadly true. That really is a problem, that we are using fear. And the book 1984, like many people were teasing, saying the movie Idiocracy, oh my God, it's happening, for real, and it's going to become an actual, documentary, not a joke. Looks like 1984 is becoming more and more of a real thing. And the thing I want to bring up here is, if any of you have spent any time watching mainstream media, and I include Fox in mainstream media. I know Fox says they're not mainstream media, but they're part of it too. Those of you who watch Fox should be mad at me for saying it, but they're part of it too. Fox is also the mainstream media. So if you watch any of the mainstream medias, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, your local station, any of those, but particularly those three, Fox, MSN, and CNN, they are literally hate shows. They are just, the bad guy is bad. Let's find reasons to hate. That's all they're about. Now, I'm going to show you a piece from the movie 1984, the movie, which I actually enjoyed, with John Hurt. And it's a part that they talk about, every morning they have to have 2 minutes of hate. Yes. Watch this for a second and you'll see what I mean.
But even as we grasp at victory,
the mandatory, they have to sit there. There is an evil tumor. That's what they're saying. There's an evil tumor growing, spreading. That's what they're talking about, which always means there's always somebody inside in our midst. There's always the bad guy.
In our midst. Shout.
Shout.
Shout. Shout out his name.
That's the bad guy. Now, it's Goldstein in the movie, but that could be Trump. That could be Bernie. That could be Biden. Insert name here. If you watch Fox, it's Hunter Biden. If you watch CNN, it's Evil Trump. We literally have our own, more than 2 minutes, sadly, 2 minutes of hate. Look at them yelling. Are you telling me that your family and friends don't do this? Maybe you do. I don't know. But this is 1984. This is watching CNN, MSNBC, or Fox anytime between, say, 8 p.m. and 11 p.m. This is that. There is the bad guy. In this case, the guy's name is Goldstein. But is it Trump or is it Biden? Yeah, it doesn't actually matter. I just wanted to show you that because I want you to realize this is done on purpose. It's not like this just happened, right? If we could just keep yelling at each other, then nothing gets solved. No one is responsible if there's always someone to blame other than us, then no one's responsible. We don't have to do anything except yell at the other. And we see that again and again and again. We are more connected now by who or what we hate than what we actually want. So that when you don't hate the people that, I say you should hate, then all of a sudden now you're the bad guy. You just became the enemy. And I see that all the time, literally in Libertarian Party, right? I see it outside Libertarian Party. I see it throughout the entire country all the time. Larry, why won't you hate these people? Because I don't want to hate people. Well, then you're not my friend. I can't support your people. You won't hate Biden. I can't support your people. You won't hate Trump. Well, I won't hate either of them, which means I guess you can't have your 2 minutes of hate with me. I'm sorry, I won't. I won't. Absolutely, I'm not going to do that. I go out of my way to not. I am clearly not a fan of our Governor Cuomo, and I still give him the benefit of the doubt when I can, and I am not a fan. Clearly, I'm not a fan. Clearly, I'm not. I don't know how else I can say that politely. That's what I will say. But even that, I don't spend hours and hours every day. About once a month, I go off on Mr. Cuomo, but that's about it. But how in the world can we talk? And I saw something on CNN earlier today, which made me think about this. It was about the QAnon group of people who think QAnon is a real thing, and it's in the deep state and all those good things, right? And one of the guys is no longer with QAnon anymore. He's like, I don't believe it anymore, and it's not true. He's basically left this group of people who think QAnon is a thing. And when he left, he said something very important. One, he felt bad because he doesn't talk to his father anymore, because he had given his father the information and sent it to him. Now his father believes QAnon's a thing. He doesn't. They don't talk anymore. Politics breaks up families. They don't talk anymore. Horrible. They don't talk anymore. But worse, he said something which I talk about always, and it's the idea of giving people respect. He said, if you believe in something, and then you eventually, if it's not true, in this case, it's QAnon. He doesn't believe in QAnon anymore. If you believe in it and all of a sudden don't, you're going to feel like a fool if people keep berating you, attacking you, being mad at you, calling you names, and you can't keep self-respect. Then you stay where you can keep self-respect, which is in the place that you no longer believe. I get that some of us think that, once Trump loses, all these horrible people. Okay, let's say you're right. Let's say Trump loses. To be forward, I have no idea who's going to win this election. Sake of argument, Trump loses. How are you going to go back to the people who you've been calling evil Trumpsters, bad people for the past 4 years? How are they going to come back to you? Don't we have to heal at one point? The reverse, Trump wins. How are you going to go back to all the people when you spent, 4 years saying how every Democrat's a socialist and a baby killer? How are you going to go back to those people? Or are you? Don't we have to? Someone's going to win this election coming up here. Someone's going to. And when that happens, how are we going to begin to heal? And my argument has always been, if we don't start with respect, we're not going to heal. The Sharpe Way, the way to mutual respect. That's what I built this on, respecting people. If we don't respect people, if we don't have basic human respect, even when we think people are wrong, or even if we think they're nuts. Oh, you people, you don't get it. Biden's a socialist. You're nuts. Okay, but they're still your neighbor. Trump's evil and he's fooling you all. Okay, great, but he's still your neighbor. We don't want to fall into this hatred that we keep seeing again and again and again. It at one point, we have to start talking. Because the problem is, most of it's not true. Most of it, not just that. Most of it is meant to keep us divided. I'm going to the piece from 1984, and you may enjoy this. I hope you will, but it's another piece that talks about the big conspiracies that we all think about.
I'm attentive to the news.
He watches the news.
Indeed. And perhaps you imagine a huge network of conspirators prepared to commit any atrocity to demoralize and weaken the order of our society.
Of course. There's a massive conspiracy prepared to do all these things, right? I want to be clear. This book was written over 50 years ago, and this movie is almost 40 years old. And they're saying what's happening right now.
The reality is infinitely more subtle.
Simple.
If Goldstein himself fell into the hands of the thought police, he could...
Now, literally, they have thought police here. Don't we? Yeah, we do too. We have thought police also. And Goldstein, of course, in this case is the bad guy, right? If you're on the right, picture this as, I guess, Biden or Bernie or Hunter Biden, whoever's the bad guy. For the right, for the left, obviously the bad guy's Trump. But imagine if this person, or QAnon, falls into the hands of whomever.
not give them a list of his agents.
He couldn't give a list.
Such a list does not exist.
Such a list does not exist. And they know it. There is no conspiracy. It's just a way of making you afraid and angry.
They're not an organization in the sense we know.
Yep.
Nothing holds it together but an idea.
Fear. That's it. An idea of fear. That's what holds it together. Fear of the other, no respect, punish people. Oh my God. Yes. All right. Yeah. Oh, is it 70? I thought it was over 60 years old. There we go. Yes. So I was kind of right. I said over, but yeah, I mean, it's horrible. 1949. Thank you for that, John. Yeah. And still, this is working right now. It's as if he was watching us, right? He just went 1984, right? Because he thought, oh, well, you know, that's enough years out. Well, there it is. I've never seen the movie. I didn't read the book until about 4 years ago. It was astonishing and eye-opening. Yes, it was. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Thank you. Respect does matter. Yes. QAnon mixes a little truth with wild conspirators justify themselves to their audience. This is, but most conspiracies, right? Whatever the conspiracy theory is, just because it's a conspiracy theory doesn't mean it's wrong, right? Doesn't mean that by default. There are conspiracies do exist. I happen to believe that the vast majority of conspiracy theories don't exist, but I'm sure there are some that are actually real. But your point's valid here, 100% valid, John. There are people who work in the State Department and for the government who do have power and strength within the government. Of course, that's true. There are bureaucrats that have been there for literally decades. That exists, and that's absolutely true. So it's based on a kernel of truth, but it really has exploded far past that. Absolutely far past that. 100%. You're totally right. It is based on something that's true. And yes, our thought police are the Karen squads. That's true. That's our thought police. Absolutely. Nick, you got to watch it. What are you doing? You got to watch it. You can watch it on Netflix if you want to, I'm sure, or Hulu, or probably YouTube, I would assume, if you want to watch through the different pieces, I'm sure. It's probably pretty cheap to watch it out. The movie came out in 1984. That's when the movie came out. So, I mean, it's the movie's much older than the book's much older than the movie, but the movie's only a couple hours long, so you can just watch it real fast if you wanted to. But I want to grab the most important piece of this, and that is that the war is not meant to end. And how does that manifest itself? In that we don't solve problems. We have problems, and the second we have problems, all we do is explode on take a side and fight at each other. And I'll give you the best example of this happening right now. Mail-in ballots. Mail-in voting. The second we started bringing up mail-in voting, what happened? The left jumped on one side. It's perfect and wonderful and awesome. And anyone who doesn't think so is just trying to stifle the vote. And the right to the opposite. It's horrible. It's corrupt. And anyone who wants to do it is just corrupt. They just jumped on sides and started fighting. Great. Another battle to fight in this never-ending war against each other. So that we don't have to be responsible for anything. And all you people can just keep fighting each other. Instead of saying, there are valid concerns with people who don't want to go vote in a voting booth because they're afraid of COVID or afraid of something. There are valid concerns. Okay, got it, one piece. And there are valid concerns that you're going to mail out 30 million or 40 million ballots all of a sudden that you haven't done for the past, decades. Okay, these are two valid concerns. Why don't we try to get together and find a way to fix it? Because we can. Literally, when people ask me, and I talked about this before months ago, we absolutely could have found companies like KPMG or BDO or any company that what their job to do is to literally audit, to find every little thing that's wrong and to fix it. They audit things like massive tax returns from huge organizations. They audit things like the lottery systems of multiple of states that have billions of dollars at stake. They audit casinos with billions of dollars at stake, and they're down to the penny. It's what they do for a living. These organizations could absolutely have picked up 2 or 3 other organizations who are very good at delivering and bringing things back, like Amazon, UPS, FedEx. You're telling me we couldn't have gotten these companies together, and the same amount of money we're going to be throwing at the post office or at the government, we couldn't have put there instead and found a safe, secure way that would have made both Republicans and Democrats happy? Of course we could have. But why? Why solve the problem? The war is not meant to end. The war is meant to be continuous. So why would I solve the problem? I can instead take this and make yet another battlefield where I can then create more casualties so you can be even angrier again and again and again. This is what we're achieving here. You can't solve that problem. Are you telling me it was impossible for us to actually to solve a mailing issue? That was beyond America. That we couldn't do. Of course we could have. There was no desire to. That's the issue. They were valid concerns on both sides of that aisle. They were all ignored and just fight. And just fight. Adam says, real ID. Fine. Whatever. Adam, maybe that's the answer. Maybe that's the answer. All I'm saying is there was an answer. Of course there was an answer, Adam. But we didn't bother trying it. We didn't bother trying it. Absolutely. Right? Did the same thing with masks. Yes. Became another left-right issue to argue over. Ooh, another battle that I can fight. The war is not meant to end. The war is meant to be continuous. Hold on. Again, from 1984. One more time. From the same movie.
In accordance with the principles of doublethink, it does not matter if the war is not real, or when it is, victory is not possible.
Yep.
The war is not meant to be won.
Not meant to be won.
It's meant to be continuous.
Yes.
The essential act of modern warfare is the destruction of the produce of human labor.
Yes. It's not meant to end. That's the entire point. It's not meant to end. This is 1984 today, and it's been happening probably since 1984 or earlier. But that's the entire point I was trying to make. Without question, guys, we could absolutely solve these problems. They are not unsolvable. Absolutely. Nick, Larry, I keep saying this, run for mayor. You don't have to run all over the big state. You can focus on an area in which you live anyway. We need you, man. I appreciate that, but mayor is a lost cause. We already have someone who's going to be running for mayor. Her name is Susan Prussman. She'll be running. So please look for her next year as a Libertarian. So I like that. Awesome. But let me focus on what I think I can do best. I covered the state before. I can cover it again. Thank you, though, Nick. I appreciate that. Larry's preaching Sharpe homage 2024. Or homage Sharpe, or homage someone else. All good, right? Whoever can do the most damage, whoever can make the biggest impact. That's what I want. That's what it is. Absolutely. Yes. Thanks, Larry. Diane's like, no one should have the biometric data of me other than me. No to real ID. Well, then maybe that isn't the answer, Diane. My point is, maybe Adam's right. Maybe you're right. Maybe a KPMG answer is right. Maybe a BDO answer is right. All I'm saying is, I'm sure there's an answer. I'm 100% sure this was not unsolvable. That's what I mean. It was absolutely not unsolvable at all. So this is my point. We could have solved these things without question. We could have. So James is in Japan. Thank you, James, for popping up. I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing it. Also amazing. Thank you so much. Do you think Tulsi Gabbard will be offered a cabinet position by any of the candidates? I do not. I think they have pushed to the outside. They want to punish her because she will not be mainstream. And I think they will not reward her bad behavior, and they will constantly punish her. That's what I believe. I think they're going to keep her pushed out. I wish that was not true. I think Tulsi Gabbard and her wing of Democratic Party is an important wing of the Democratic Party, which is basically being ignored. And I think they shouldn't. That's my opinion. But Democrats aren't listening to me. So I think they will ignore her because they want her to get in line. And she's not getting in line. So I know many people, libertarians, are enamored by Tulsi Gabbard and want her to be a presidential candidate. I want her to come aboard. I do. I hope she will become libertarian one day. That would be amazing if she does. She will have to, be more libertarian. And if she moves towards us, I think she will. I think she has the ability to do so. And again, remember, people come to us. They don't come perfect libertarians. I welcome anyone who wants to come aboard. As I say always, particularly someone like her, BYOP. Bring your own press, and which she will. So please come. Awesome. Yes. Owned by the same people who want us living in fear. Also true. Yes. Only 2 minutes. Such slackers. Yes. Well, we will yell and hate like there's no tomorrow for a long time. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. That's stupid. I hate people that are so one-sided. I like that. You hate people who hate. There we go. I love it. Preach. I am trying to preach. Thank you. Absolutely. 100%. I'm doing my best to make that happen. So Operation Warp Speed, Trump said he will use the military for, I'm not sure what that's for. I think I might have missed that piece. I don't know about, but yes, the warp speed, anytime, and I talked about this yesterday, anytime the government decides to do anything, it means they're using force. Right? They're saying we will do it no matter what. We're going to use force. Absolutely. Exactly with the war on drugs, nothing is ever solved. 100% true. And this is a big issue, right? If we don't solve it, when it comes to third parties, and clearly I am absolutely biased when it comes to which third party you should be voting for. Clearly, I am obviously biased when it comes to that. But without a question, there has to be a third party to make anything happen, right? When you have two, and this happens in almost everything, you see it happen in everything from business, family, anything. When you have two, it becomes a cartel system. That duopoly becomes a cartel system, which means localized monopolies. An example I'll give you is look at even when there is just Coke and Pepsi. When there's only Coke and Pepsi, what generally happens? One company picks Coke, like Burger King or something, and then McDonald's will pick Pepsi or the reverse. And then now you get a monopoly localized. You get localized monopolies. It's a cartel system. Each one goes, you take this, I'll take that. We'll both make money. Life is good. That happens often in that happens with cable companies, right? Comcast. What's the other one? Comcast and they're both terrible. Whatever the other Spectrum. Right. So Comcast and Spectrum, they don't overlap. Spectrum says, I'll take these cities. Comcast, I'll take those cities. So you have monopolies based on a two-party system. They create a cartel. Happens in politics. We'll gerrymander this district. If you gerrymander that district, if you don't want anybody here, I won't run anybody there. Or if you run, controlled opposition here, I'll run a sacrificial lamb over here. And we'll pretend like we're fighting when we're not. And then each of us controls. That's the common thing that you see again and again and again. But once you have the third party, this is why 3 is a magic number. Remember from that old thing, 3 is a magic number, right? 3 is the magic number. It absolutely is. Once you have 3, that left versus right, good versus evil paradigm is broken. And when that paradigm is broken, all 3 have to now do something. 3 is a magic number. The trilogy in movies, the trilogy in religion, in most Abrahamic religions, but also non-Abrahamic religions. Jesus rises in 3 days. 3 is a magic number, not just because it is. Once you break that 2, right? So it's single, right? 1, a couple, and then many or a few. 3 is the magic number for many reasons. Third party matters. If we have that, things will change. So, yes, the Libertarian Party is RC Cola. You can have, or maybe it's grape or orange or Fanta or something. It could be any of those. You pick the one you like. Again, I happen to think Libertarians are the right answer, but maybe you want to do green, and that's Fanta or whatever is the cool thing of the day. I'm fine. Yes, absolutely. 100%. Absolutely. Freaking cable. I'm right, Nick. This is exactly what happened. Absolutely. That's exactly what happened, right? Whenever you have 2, you by default make this happen. It's how it works. It's how it functions. One of the reasons why they didn't want to have parties, right? It could be root beer, Diane. I like that. Let's do root beer. I'm good with that. Absolutely. Yes. Absolutely. 100%. So I guess my point here being the three is an important issue. And if we just keep voting the exact same way, we're going to keep having the wars that never end. And while I can't stand things like the war on terror, they're horrible, absolutely. Bombing people overseas or whatever is the bad guy, totally terrible. However, I'm actually more concerned about the Civil War, and I don't mean physical. I mean right now mental, emotional, that we have going on in our country now. Politics is literally breaking up families. I mean, is that what this country needs? More broken families? Are we so behind on broken families that we need more of them? Is that the answer? I really hope not. I really hope that we can try to change this, right? So, Constitution Party. I actually had the Constitution Party guy on. Blankenship, Don Blankenship is the president candidate for the Constitution Party. Those of you who care, please head over to Sharpe Way, the Sharpe Way YouTube page. You can look down for Don Blankenship. I had him on for an hour. I actually talked with him about his concept and ideas. And he sent me a book. He was very, very happy that I actually gave him an actual platform to talk. So, yeah, look, clearly I'm biased. I want you to vote Libertarian. But I would take you voting. I'm one of the rare people that when I say get out and vote, I don't mean just vote for my people. When most people say you got to vote, what they mean is you got to vote for my guy. I want you to vote, period. I hope you vote for my gal, in this case, Joe Jorgensen, or my guys when it comes to down ballot ticket, or my gals down ballot ticket. I hope you do. But even if you don't, I can't get you involved and turn you for the future if you're checked out. And sadly, too many Americans, as you all know, have just checked out. They just check out. They're not paying attention anymore. They don't vote anymore. They've given up. I can't draw you in if you've checked out. So I actually do want you to vote. Please vote for my guys. Please vote Libertarian. But even if you don't, vote Constitution or whatever, I got it. I wish you'd vote mine. But please go vote, because if you vote, then I can hopefully in the future convince you to vote for my people. So I actually do want you to vote, even if it's not for my people. I hope it is. But go out there and vote. I really believe that 100%. And if you don't trust the mail, show up in person. If you don't trust showing up in person, do the mail. I don't care how you do it. I'm not married to either way. I want you to care, because if we don't care, we're going to completely collapse. Realize something. In New York State, average, about 40% of the people who can vote. That's the average. Sometimes higher, but that's the average. 40%. 40%. So that means about 4 million, 5 million people vote out of a state of 18 million. Now, if 3 million out of those, 4 million get other people who select, that means 1 in 6 New Yorkers selects our governor. 1 in 6. That's democracy, because we're not paying attention. That's democracy, because we're not paying attention. So yes, please go vote. Don't let them fool you into believing that the war has to continue. It doesn't. Please don't decide that, well, it doesn't matter. And please stop jumping on the hate wagon. I know it's hard, because, man, they're good at making you want to hate somebody. I feel it too. Watch 3 hours of either CNN or MSNBC and you want to hate somebody. I get it. Just keep watching. You're like, who do I have to hate now? Right? I got to hate somebody. They're yelling about how Trump is evil, or Bernie's evil, or Hunter Biden's a new bad guy, right? On Fox. Hunter Biden's evil. Let's hate some people. That's it. Or hate CNN, or hate Fox, or hate the moderator, or hate someone. Let's hate. Everything is unfair. Everything is horrible. Everything is bad. Fight, 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 versus who's going to go do the right thing for us. Absolutely. Green Party, by the way, is Howie Hawkins. I had him on also. You can go check out Sharpe Way. I had him on also, more than once, actually. And, of course, Jorgensen, had her on twice. So you can have her on, too, if you want to. Absolutely. You can check it out if you want to. Please go ahead. You can check them all out. I'm happy if you guys want to check them out. I'm going to hold on, put something up. I'm going to find something real fast. Hold on here. I'm going to grab something. There we go. I think that's it. Is that it? There we go. All right. I'm going to pop this up real fast. And you thought I was joking when I said this. I wasn't joking. I actually have some data that shows I'm actually telling you the truth. I know you think I'm telling the truth, but I'm going to show you anyway. Hold on. This is from when I was a kid. Couple seconds.
3 is a magic number.
I told you it was.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
It's a magic number.
It totally is.
Somewhere in the ancient mystic trinity.
See that? The Trinity. I was a kid.
3
3, brother.
has a magic number.
Totally magic.
The past and the present and the future.
See, in the future, we're supposed to have spaceships and stuff. That didn't happen. But anyway, this right here, this is Jo Jorgensen. See, you should vote for her. The magic number 3.
Faith and hope and charity.
Absolutely.
The heart and the brain and the body give
Yep.
you 3.
3.
Has a magic number.
Absolutely.
It takes 3 legs to make a tripod.
Yeah, it does.
To make a table stand. It
Absolutely.
takes 3 wheels to make a vehicle called a tricycle.
Yep.
Every triangle has 3 corners. Every triangle has 3 sides. No more, no less. You don't have to guess.
You don't have to.
When it's 3,
Yep.
you can see it's a magic number.
So let's accept that 3 is a magic number. This is from Schoolhouse Rock. And let's try to go to that magic number. And let's actually vote third party, because it is a magic number. Sadly, though, we have, without question, spent far too much time yelling at each other, calling each other names, and acting like we hate each other. And we probably don't. The sad part is when you actually meet people, and this is what people often, people say, Larry, how can you handle when someone yells at you? And I get yelled at when I travel all the time, good and bad, usually bad. But when I get yelled at when someone goes, in fact, I was at an event upstate 2 weeks ago. A guy comes over to me while I'm talking, yells at me, literally tells me to shut the F up. This is Trump country. That's what he said to me. And there were witnesses who saw it. I didn't get upset. I said, if you want to calm down or speak softer, you could have just asked me. You didn't have to get vulgar. And then later, I actually apologized to him. I said, I'm sorry if I made you upset. He was all nice and fine. We were buddies. Life was good. And people were like, you handled that so well. I'm like, because I don't assume that guy's a bad guy. I assume that guy probably is mad about something. Probably was watching Fox. He liked Trump, so probably watching Fox News. Fox News probably gave him some news about how the world is ending and people are bad. He heard me talk. I wasn't saying anything bad about Trump, but I wasn't saying Trump is the God King. I wasn't saying that. So he took that as an attack. He got mad at me, told me to shut the F up. I didn't get mad at him back. Why? I didn't assume he was a bad person. I didn't assume because he supported Trump that he was a bad person at all. I mean, he might have been. I don't know the guy. He might have been a bad person in theory. I mean, I don't know him. But I made the assumption that he wasn't. I made the assumption that he believes what he believes because he thinks it's the right thing. That was my assumption. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. And at the end, I said I was sorry if I made him upset. And he was all calm and cool, and we were buds. Life was good. We walked away positive, even though it started bad. Do I know if that guy's ever going to vote for me? I don't know. Maybe not. But it doesn't matter. Not just that, the people who were there for my event saw me not get upset and yell, go to hell, Trump, or whatever someone else would have done. I didn't do that. That's what respect is about. I want that guy who's 100% going to vote Trump, or already has on election day. That guy's voting Trump. Guaranteed he is. But he can't vote Trump in 4 years from now. And there's a governor's race coming up here. So when I'm talking about I want you to vote, I'm not joking. That guy's voting. Good. He's in. Now I can turn him. I can't turn him if I can't talk to him. I can't turn him if he doesn't care. Right? He's got to care so I can turn him. So hopefully I can turn that guy. Maybe not. But even if I don't turn him, at least when he sees Libertarians on the ballot, he probably won't yell at them. He'll just go, those guys, whatever, and he'll move on and he'll do his thing. Right? He'll move on and he'll do his thing. And that's what I'm hoping will happen. And I'm trying to, without question, be that change that I want, so that when other people see it, they realize you don't have to yell and scream at each other. It's just not required. So every Libertarian vote is a reminder that we aren't happy with the way things are now. Yes, absolutely. Yes. hate-owned politics. I think what you mean is the idea that we want to just own the other. That's the idea. I think that's what you mean. And I agree. It's terrible. I can't stand it. Keep calm and vote Joe Jorgensen 2020. I'm with you, Dave. That's what I'm going to do. That is what I'm going to do. Yes. I'm going to share that quote. If I watch 2 hours of CNN, I'd want to hate someone too. Yes, it's true. Actually, I don't watch which news. I don't know which news you said, but it doesn't matter. If you watch 2 hours of Fox, you want to hate somebody. If you watch 2 hours of MSNBC, you want to hate somebody. If you watch 2 hours, of any mainstream news channel, you'll want to hate somebody. That's for sure, right? And I got to tell you, I bring this about CNN. For those of you who have been watching CNN for years, as I have been since the 90s, right? I mean, I watched CNN for a long time. CNN was never that far left. The Republicans said it was, but it wasn't. It was left, but it wasn't that far left. MSNBC was far further left than CNN was until Trump was elected. That is when CNN took a hard turn. They are 100% left now. Literally, if you watch CNN for about the 8 o'clock hour to the 11 o'clock hour, give or take, it is just, here are more reasons why you should hate Trump. That is the entire station. Don't get me wrong. Fox is the opposite. Here is the reason why you should love Trump. Here are the reasons, right? That's the 3 hours. But that used to only be an MSNBC thing. MSNBC was, here's why you hate Republicans. That was their gig. CNN has taken that gig right over. And is actually, sadly, better at it than MSNBC is now. They're better at it. CNN is better at just being, here are the reasons why you should hate Trump, than MSNBC is. And that was not the case prior to Trump. CNN was left, but nowhere near as left they were. It was, compared to what they are now, they were middle of the road compared to what they are now. It's been a major shift in CNN since Trump. Absolutely. CNN is definitely fake news. They invite King Cuomo on to Anderson Cooper to talk about how to handle COVID. What a joke. They might also invite Hitler to talk about humanitarianism. That's very good, Avi. I like that. That's very good. But no, I mean, you gotta look, his brother is a primetime anchor. What are you gonna do? Absolutely. Yes. Facing extinction, they got us by the gonads. Ouch. I don't like that at all. I'm so glad I got to vote for Joe and Spike as well as 2 Libertarians today. Oh, thank you. That's amazing. Yes, there are more Libertarians on the ballot than have been in a while, and we have a lot of really great candidates, guys. If you're paying attention, a lot of them. You remember that? That 3 is a magic number. See, I remember it too. See, we're old. We're old. Absolutely. Yeah. For those of you who don't remember, that was Schoolhouse Rock, which when I was a kid, and I guess when you were a kid too, that was on usually around 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon in that area. It would be on after school, and it was called Schoolhouse Rock, and they would have different stuff talking about these types of things. I thought it was good. I just remembered it. Absolutely. 3's magic number. I voted for third-party candidates ever since I've been able to vote. Thank you, Dave. I appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate that. We also had the Americans Solidarity Party. Yes, we did. Absolutely. Brian Carroll is correct, Missy. We had him on Sharpe Way also. Yes. So I tried to give you guys all of the third-party candidates that I could give you that would come on. Not all of them agreed to come on. The 4 of them did, and I gave you the 4 that did. Brian Carroll from ASP, Joe Jorgens from Libertarians, Howie Hawkins from Green, and Don Blankenship from Constitution Party. So I gave you all of them to look at. I'm not joking when I say I want you to vote and I want you to vote third party. I wouldn't put these people on if I didn't believe that. Clearly, I'm biased. So my bias, I hope you see that my bias and my prejudice is open and blatant. I don't hide my bias. I want you to vote for my people. However, I want you to vote. If we don't care, there's only 2 ways that this country changes: voting or violence. That's it. I don't want the violence. Right? What do they say? The bullet box and the bullet box or the ballot box. Is that the old saying? I say vote or violence. Same thing. Those are the 2 ways they're going to change. I don't want the violent one. I don't want that one. I want the vote one. Let's go there. Let's try the vote one. Let's try the ballot box. I think we can do it that way. I want to go that way. The violence way, while it can work, the scars that it leaves literally lasts centuries. I'm not joking. Literally lasts centuries. I do not want to be responsible or to create those scars. Let's try voting. I like trying to vote. Every time that I correct a false report about Trump, someone accused me of being a Trump supporter. Yes. Yes. You're totally right. You have to hate him. You have to hate the other, right? Trump is a big personality, so it's very easy to just hate Trump. Hillary was a bigger personality and also easier to hate in 2016, so she became the one to hate, right? So it was easy. Biden isn't that hateable. I know some of you who are Republicans may be angry at that fact, but he isn't. He's a placeholder, right? I mean, as I said before, he could literally be a ham sandwich. The Democrats would go, is he Trump? No. Ham sandwich 2020. That's it. So Biden isn't as hateable, nowhere near as hateable as Hillary. Hillary was very hateable, and Trump's hateable. Trump is a big personality, so people can be mad at him. Oh, that guy, he's this and he's that. Easy to throw sticks at. Also easy to follow, too. Both of those things, right? Trump's personality is a double-edged sword. It's easy to follow. Yes, look at that guy. He's amazing. He's awesome. And hate that guy. Thinks he's so great. Easy for both of those. So people want you to love or hate Trump. And if you love him, then he has to be infallible. And what people get most mad at me is I give Trump credit where credit is due, and I say when he's wrong, just like you do. And people, when I say it's right, go, yay, Larry loves Trump. Awesome. What? You said something to disagree, and they get angry. I agree, but I'm still going to do the same thing. Thank you, Helen, for that. I appreciate that. I'm a truck driver, and I'll be voting in 2 weeks. Awesome. I appreciate that. I'm glad you're on board. Yes. Soapbox, ballot box, jury box, ammo box. Thank you. You corrected me. I appreciate that. Yes. Soapbox, ballot box, jury box, ammo box. Yes. I'm going with the ballot box. That's the one I want to go with. I'm going to get on my soapbox so that I can hope that we can deal with the ballot box. That's what I want. I'm trying to avoid the ammo box to the best of our ability. I really don't want to go that route. I would rather avoid that route completely. Yes. All right. I'm going to keep going down this side if I could. Violence begets more violence. Yes, I agree. Voting is a better option. 100%. Let's try that. It is a much better one. Biden's a placeholder. He is. If I know Democrats watch this show, and I often get Biden 2020 in the comments. I'm not trying to dismiss Democrats who want to vote Biden. That is not my intent. I'm just being very forward. If you are a Democrat and you're watching, you know the same thing that I know. Democrats right now are united. The civil war that should be happening in the Democratic Party is on hold because they're united by their hatred of Trump. That unites them, right? Again, Trump is a big personality. Love him or hate him, absolutely true, big personality. And because of that big personality, people now are united against him. So it keeps them together. It wouldn't matter who Biden was. I mean, Biden could have been, in theory, as long as he wasn't too much of a personality, like Hillary was also a personality too, right? And a lot of history. She was a personality also. But it could have been, I don't know, in theory, who was Hillary's Kaine? No. Who was Hillary's VP? Whoever that guy was, right? I forgot. Was it Kaine? I think it was Kaine. It could be him, right? And he'd be getting just as much, right? It wouldn't matter. It could have been any of these guys, right? It could have been that guy from Maryland. I forgot that guy's name, but it could have been that guy, whoever. It doesn't matter. It would be not Trump. Check. That's what matters. So he is a placeholder. It really could have been a ham sandwich. No difference. And I think that's why you don't find a vitriolic hatred of Biden, because he isn't the big personality and he's a placeholder. So the concept, you find most Republicans who are united against Democrats, they're not really united against Biden. They're united against the idea, either socialism or corruption or something like that. Now, some don't like Biden, but the majority of Republicans that are united, it's about that, corruption or socialism. The majority of Democrats, it's actually Trump, the big personality. So anyway, thank you for that. I appreciate that. Why would Libertarians need to buy an island to escape to? What is this? Is this Atlas Shrugged? We're all going to go off to our own area and do that? Maybe. I don't know. Too many libertarians tend to think of journalists and news media in general as being the enemy. I agree completely. Yes. As if every reporter is Rachel Maddow or Tucker Carlson. Yep. 90% of journalists in your area are simply looking for a story to do their job. Yes. When we generate that story and learn how to work for them, they can become great friends and assets. Yes, yes, and yes. One of the things I say all the time, when it comes to dealing with the media, for any of you who are running for office, one of the most important things in putting out any kind of press release is to literally do the press release for them, to write the story for them. Here is the story along with a picture. Just scratch off my name, put your name on it, and put it up. You'll be surprised how often that works. Brian's correct. They just want to get their job done. The goal of the media is to be seen. They have to have content to be seen. Help them create content. They tend to be your buddy. Tend to. There are some exceptions, obviously. Absolutely, yes. My ballot is sitting on my coffee table. I got it today. Several West Virginia LP candidates. Yes, gubernatorial candidate. Had it on my show. Absolutely, yes. 100%, yes. If libertarian candidates can remain serious and respectful, but still interesting. Interesting is the key, Brian. The media will pay attention to us. We've seen that over and over on the current bus tour with Joe and Spike when they come local markets. Interesting is the key, without question. They want something people can watch. If you're going to do the same old thing, they're not going to pay attention to you. They're not. Absolutely. I figured it out. We will all be dead by the time this country is truly the trash. It's on the great-grandchildren, so they don't care. Wow, I hope you're wrong. But that might be right. Kaine, it was. Tim Kaine. Thank you, James. That's the guy. Yes. If this had been Tim Kaine this year, right? Say he had run and won the Democratic primary. I think there'd be no difference in anything. I think it will be exactly the same. It will be totally the same. It'd be Kaine 2020, not Trump 2020 is what I think it will be. I don't think there'd be any difference if Kaine was Democratic nominee. That's my point, which is why I think people don't have that vitriolic hatred towards Biden. And Kaine also, not a big personality, right? He'd have been the same type like Biden, not a big personality. So a reporter in Utah is the only reporter who has interviewed every single presidential candidate. Oh, look at that. There we go. Warp speed will not cease to exist to ignore it. Not sure where you're going with that one. I don't really know where that's going. Yes. Ham sandwich, the ultimately indictable ham sandwich. There we go. Let's get that ham sandwich in jail. Absolutely. Yes. I don't think of them as the enemy, just TV diarrhea. All right. Okay. Okay. All right. Democrats usually unite against Republicans. Too many Democrats, all Republicans are Nazis. If you don't vote Democrat, you're supporting Nazism. That's true. I think that's accurate. I think you find that when each side gets angry, it goes to that hatred piece, right? That we talked about earlier. The other side is the bad thing. We call it in psychology the one-word story. Those people become the one-word story, right? So every Democrat is a socialist. Every Republican is a Nazi. We're done. We have now described them. Why have a conversation? You don't negotiate with socialists. You don't negotiate with Nazis. Boom, done deal. I can now hate them, dehumanize them, all those things. 100% true. Yes, 100%. I can't wait to vote Joe, but I don't trust the mail. I've had too many packages later lost. I don't trust my vote to be counted, right, regardless, but I trust mail even less. Well, there we go. I love it. I love that. Great. Larry, as awesome as you are, will never call you King Sharpe if you become governor. King is only reserved for pompous donkey quibble. Thank you. I would like to not be your king if you're okay with that, Avi. The funny story is for those of you who don't know how New York State works, when I broke the 50,000 vote mark in New York State election law made me the party chair, or the chair of the new party. I became the New York State party chair by the election law. So I didn't want it. I was surprised how many people were like, Larry, now you can run things. You can be our king. And I was like, I could be, but I'm going to not do that. So literally as the New York State party chair, I did two things. I opened the meeting and then I chaired the vote to replace me. So I was party chair for like 5 minutes, I'm totally fine with that. I don't want to be your king, Avi. I want to assist in the best of my ability to allowing you to be your own monarch. whether that is king or queen or prince or whatever title you choose, emperor of your own life. I would like that to happen. So please, if you want to call me king because you decide that you want me to run your life, fine, I guess. Again, if you want to give up your rights, if someone does, right, want to give up their rights, I don't have a problem with you. I did it when I joined the Marine Corps. I gave up my rights for 7 years, right? There are lots of, I didn't get freedom of speech, I didn't get freedom of movement. I had to go where they told me to go. I gave up my rights for 7 years, but I volunteered, right? I chose to. And if someone wants to follow everything I tell them, okay, as long as they have volunteered to do so, all good. So if anybody wants me to be their king, I'm happy to be your voluntary king if you want that, but I'd rather you just be your own king or queen or monarch or emperor or empress. That would be better. And if I ever do become your king for any reason, you are always free to leave and repick your own monarch as you see fit. So thank you, Avi. Appreciate that. I'm good. Yes. Libertarians do better with the right and center right if they would not emphasize drug legalization so much. I'm not sure people emphasize that. Some do, some don't, right? You got to remember something. Libertarians also have a spectrum, right? A spectrum of left and right also. And I don't think I emphasized drug legalization that much. I was absolutely for it, and I still am. But if you remember what I focused on just allowing cannabis. And I spoke for many reasons. Entrepreneurship, farmers, pain, all those things. So I think some do, but generally speaking, those are more left libertarians than right libertarians. They tend to focus more on drug legalization. But I'm not sure I'm not sure all libertarians do that. They talk about it, and almost every libertarian I know, in fact, every libertarian that I know, does want to legalize drugs, but not everyone talks about it or leads with it or focuses on it. So I'm not sure that's true. Not with me. So the value of life is knowing we're going to die for NWO. Well, that sucks. Larry exists to veto. I like that. See that? There we go. Good. When the older parties ask why we vote Libertarian, we should say, if all Republicans are Nazis and all Democrats are communists, why would we vote for either one? I love that. Look at that. You just use their logic on each other. Perfect. I love that. That's amazing. That's so good. Yeah. You know what? Since clearly all Republicans are evil and all Democrats are evil, why would I vote for either of them? I love that. I'm in. I am told I may start using that one. That's not a bad idea. So, but again, I'm teasing. What I would rather do when someone says that is I'd rather try and have an actual conversation. Because when I'm doing it right, and I don't always do it right, obviously, but when I'm doing it right, the person I'm talking to always assumes I'm their party, right? So if I'm giving someone ideas or concepts, how to fix things, which I constantly talk about, how to fix this, how to fix that, right? About all the time, they always assume I'm their party. So if they're Republican, they assume I'm Republican. If they're Democrat, they assume I'm Democrat. That's the home run. And when you show them that you're not their party, they go, oh, huh. So it's not, if you're not with us, you're against us, which is what most of the parties are taught. If you're not with us, you're against us. That's why you always get from every Republican who hates third parties, oh, that's just a vote for Biden, right? If you vote third party. And if they're a Democrat, that's a vote for Trump. Because their mindset is, if you're not with us, you're against us. I'm trying to end that. I don't want that to be the thing. So I'd rather have that conversation. But I like your concept. If you say it that way, it might open their mind. I think there's a chance that their mind might be opened. I like that. Yeah. New World Order. Yeah. That's NWO. That's New World Order. Yes, I have seen that before. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you. Okay. Thank you. Yes. There we go. New World Order. I like that. Exactly. All right. I asked people what issues they're facing. Shelley. Yes. Oh my God. Yes. That's exactly the right answer. The second that someone, makes a comment or says something like the other guy is evil or the other guy is bad or creates a one word, story. And remember, when someone is a Democrat and they use the word conservative, or when someone's Republican and they use the word liberal, they mean those as pejoratives, not as a descriptor, right? That's an attack. That's a bad word to them. So when they start talking, damn liberals, damn conservatives, or whatever they start saying, I think Shelley's on the nose here. At this point, you start asking, what's going on? What's your issue? In fact, if everyone has ever seen me at an event, very often when I meet people before the event officially starts, I will very often say, so what's your issue, to someone who shows up? And they'll start telling me about whatever they're mad about, whatever's affecting them, whatever they see as unfair. And then when I start talking, I will very often then bring up those issues and try to find solutions for those issues. And when I give them solutions, several things happen. That person very often says, I've never heard solutions before. I've just heard other guy bad. Or sadly, for most libertarians, they don't actually give any solutions. Most libertarians just give you a history lesson and then give rhetoric. That's the normal one, right? How are you going to solve schools? Let me tell you why schools have been bad forever. We got to get government out of schools. That's not an answer. Democrats will go, we got to fund them. Republicans go, we got to invest. Not an answer either. I'll actually give an answer. When you actually give an answer, be amazed how many people really come to you. And then you remember, most people who have followed me, not all, but the vast majority, followed me not because I'm super handsome. I am clearly super handsome. That isn't really a question. But that's not why they follow me, right? The reason why they follow me in any way, shape, or form, most of the time has been because there was some idea that I gave that connected for them. They went, that thing, that idea affects me. That idea I get. That idea resonates with me. It was some idea or policy or concept that landed with them, and they go, okay. And that is very often what gets people to keep following me. It's not because, well, Sharpe sounds cool. I mean, it does sound cool, but that's not the reason why. It's because of these other things. So we have to be able to provide answers for the issues that they are facing. Shelley, you were absolutely right. I always tease, sometimes people will come to my events with a sheet of paper, questions they've written down, right? And when someone comes to my event with paper and questions they wrote down, I'm like, they're buying a t-shirt. They're in. That's libertarian. There's no doubt. Because that person is serious about finding an answer. If you took the time to show up at my event and you're not a libertarian and you wrote out questions to hammer Larry Sharpe on, if you did that, you care and you want actual answers. The average person does not do that. If you do that, you care and you want solutions that matters to you. And if I see that, I am absolutely asking you to tell me all your questions, every one of them. And if you've ever watched me, I will literally go down that person's list, each one of them, boom, boom, and we will answer every one of them, boom, 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 boom. At the end of that, every single time, 100%, people will like, yep, you're my guy. You're my guy. Because exactly what you said, Shelley. I'm sorry I stayed in this so long, but Shelley, you're just so right. This is what matters. The average person, and this is what I'm going to say now is two libertarians. If you're listening right now, I know that not everybody who's watching libertarian, but for those of you who are, we have been telling ourselves lies for decades, so long that we believe it. We say things like, what people want is liberty and freedom. That's not true. That's crap we've been telling ourselves for years. Absolutely not true. What people want is answers for their problems. If it happens to include freedom and liberty, awesome. Awesome. But if it also includes hurting others, sometimes they're like, that's awesome too, as long as it hurts others. So it isn't always that they want freedom and liberty. What they want is answers for their problems and solutions. That's what they want. Let's give it to them with liberty and freedom. Yes. We also say, what people want is choice. That's also a lie. Not a lie. That's also not true. Not a lie. Because libertarians believe it to be true, which is wrong. People don't want the choice. If they wanted a choice, there'd be 3 or 4 parties. They don't want a choice. They want answers. If they thought their party could give them answers, they'd want one party. They just want answers. Shelley, you are just so right. I stayed in this forever because you are just so correct. This is what matters. If we want to make real impact, we have to ask people what issues they're facing and then give them solutions for those issues. And if we do that, without pandering, without just saying other guy bad, they will begin to follow us because that's what they want. 100% true. Thank you, Shelley. I know I spent 6 hours on this, but it's so correct. I wanted to make sure that we stayed in a bit to just really get that. Libertarians can talk about any issue we want. The key is knowing your audience. Yes. Is that audience going to assume you only care about drugs, a liberal podcast, a conservative radio program, a high school classroom, a college event? The same argument can be made to all of them, but the messaging needs to be tailored to them. We can't talk to all of them at the same. Yes, right. I have seen, there's an old saying, and I forgot who I just heard this. Yesterday. I forgot who it was. They said, libertarians are the kind of guy who will go to the funeral of a child who's been shot in a school shooting and talk about the Second Amendment and talk about how if only the kids had guns. Maybe you're right, but that's not the place. It just isn't the place to do that. Not the right spot. Or I've seen libertarians go on a right-leaning podcast and open with an attack on Trump. It's a right-leaning podcast. Why would you open with how bad Trump is? Or go on a left-leaning one, as Brian's saying, and open on attack on socialism. It's a left-leaning podcast. At least, take him out to dinner first. Give him a kiss first. What are you doing, right? Something. You're totally correct. You have to know who your audience is. You've got to know where to start, right? And if there's the old saying, which I love, and I keep saying it, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. Show them that you care. Show them that it matters. Then they'll listen to you. The LP answer, okay, statist. God, Bob, I wish that wasn't true. But you are right there. Yes, absolutely. Larry, one issue libertarians have is we are like woke left. We are like woke left. We always eat our own. Oh, yes, we do eat our own constantly. As much as I'm libertarian to stop eating our own for lack of purity. It's true. I see it all the time. We're constantly doing it. We do it all the time. You're not left enough or right enough or whatever enough. Absolutely. I agree. Yes, it's a problem. I'm trying to show that that's not required. I'm trying to bring everybody on and just have a conversation. Here's the reality, though. I mean, thank you for bringing this up. If libertarians, the more hardcore libertarians realize something, it takes time very often for people to become libertarians. They come to our movement not because they're libertarians. Most. There's some exceptions. Most people come to our movement because their movement isn't working for them. That doesn't mean they're libertarian. That means they're lie curious. That's all that means. They're libertarian curious. They're like, well, mine isn't working. Maybe this will work for me. And when they come, if we berate them and insult them, they're never going to come back. I still remember this. I think this was a Queens libertarian meeting about 6 years ago, maybe, give or take, in that area. A guy came to one of our meetings. It might have been Manhattan. I think it was Queens. Guy comes to one of our meetings. Young guy, probably 22, 23, comes to our meeting, and he says, yeah, I heard of libertarianism. I came for the meeting. I'm just curious. You guys don't want to get rid of NASA, do you? Yeah, you already know what happened. All we had to do was go, NASA, look, you know what? Can we talk about some other stuff? Come on in, sit down, let's chat. No, we had to hammer him on NASA and SpaceX and privatization and taxation as theft. Needless to say, he never came back. Did we expect him to be a perfect libertarian the day he walks in the door? Yes. Avi, to your point, yes, we did expect that, and we shouldn't. Other than to remember, when people hang around us, they become more libertarian. When I first came to the libertarian movement in 2012, I thought Gary Johnson was radical. For those you don't know, Gary Johnson is not radical. But I thought he was like, this guy's radical. This guy's, what? That's what I thought. I am now more radical than he is, right? But that's what happens. People walk in the door with different views. And for those who get mad at me, I'm not bringing people to the movement as pure libertarians. Of course not. I don't need them to be. I need them to be open to us, to hear us, and to sometimes, I hope often, vote for us. But they can still stay Democrats, Republicans. I hope they don't, but it's okay. Some of you out there I know are still Democrats, Republicans. I just hope sometimes you'll vote Libertarian. when you see a libertarian on the ballot, I hope you vote for them. I'll take just that. Because here's what I realize. If we have a stronger, better Libertarian Party, if we have that, then guess what? We'll have better Republicans and better Democrats anyway. We'll have better Republicans and better Democrats anyway. It'll move the country in the right way. Absolutely. So I hope that's good. So let me keep going if I could. Okay, here. I love the idea that it's not about that it's about what matters to people. DR politics seem to focus mostly on personalities, which are by nature flawed. Yes. Policy is now secondary. Yes. What will it take to get people in the MSM to think in terms of policy? To have more exciting libertarians speak about policy. And we are bad at that. Either we're not exciting or we don't have policy. Sadly, most libertarians have no policy. I wish that wasn't true, but it's true. Most just go, well, the platform's not policy. That's the platform. Well, they can repeat the platform. I can get a 7-year-old to memorize the platform. That's not impressive. I need actual policies that will work for the people you're trying to deal with, right? If you're running for city council, I don't care about platform. I care about how you're going to have a libertarian answer to their zoning rules. That's policy, right? If we had more people who focused on policy issues in our group instead of just talking about, libertarian ideology, we'd be a whole lot better off. You're trying to become a state senator, right? What's your state issues? How are you going to take libertarian philosophy and create policies for your state, the people in your state, what do they care about? Exactly to Shelley's point. Shelley, yet again, you hit it out of the park. What do they care about? What issues are they dealing with? And how do you make a libertarian answer for that? Reciting the party platform? An elementary school kid could do that. That's not impressive. Give me some policy that affects the people who you're trying to represent. Whoever those people are. Water board? What's that? Right? That's what I'm concerned about, without question. People want choice, slows their choice. Yes, that's correct. Yes, exactly right. They want their choice. That's correct. Absolutely. Yes. Too many of you control as leadership. We need to change that narrative through educating the masses on what liberty means. This is the issue. Leadership should be seen as influence, not control. There's a difference. If you win an election, you have the bully pulpit, right? People will look at you and talk to you and put you on TV or interview you in the media, whatever, because you won the election. Now use the bully pulpit to influence people. I have no problem whatsoever with some president, mayor, governor getting on TV saying, I think you should all do this. Fine. As long as he's not forcing us to. Right? If President Trump goes, you should all wear red ties. Okay. Say it. Say it every time you talk. How come you don't wear a red tie? You should wear a red tie. Wear a red tie. You should all wear red ties. Okay. As long as there's no law. That's if you don't wear a red tie, you're going to jail or fining you or whatever. I don't have a problem with that. We should view leadership as an ability to influence and try to bring people in the right direction by both our example and by our ideas, and then creating an environment where people will do the right thing. That's how you lead. That's how you lead in business. Sorry, that's how you lead well in business. I think that's what we should be worrying about. That is really, and I agree completely, John. It's the wrong thing. Absolutely. So, all right, if I can grab a couple more. I'm stealing lie curious. It is kind of cute, right? I mean, many of people are. Absolutely. So yes, lie curious. Very good. All right. NASA's a huge force. See, Matthew, people like NASA. That's the least of our problems. We got a war on drugs. We got a war on terror. We got a Patriot Act. NASA's like way down the list of issues we got to deal with. That's like number 100 on the list. It's bad. I agree, but it's nowhere near a priority. It is way down the list of priorities compared to all the other things that we have to worry about. So many. Yes. Yes. I saw someone get booed at a Soho debate for asking about gun control. Yes, I have seen that too. We must seek to educate rather than shame. 100%. Yes. But I remember something happening at Soho once before. I don't know if it was that one. It was something like that. It might have been that, but it was something else. But after the boo, other people attack the booers by clapping, going, stop, stop, stop. She's here. Let's be happy she's here asking. You're walking to a libertarian, world and asking about gun control. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're asking. Absolutely. I'm happy you're here. I'm happy you're asking. I want to reward that behavior, not punish it. I'm glad you decided to show up and ask some questions. You're open to hearing the answer, or you wouldn't have shown up. And remember, this is someone who comes to a physical event, sits through it, and asks a question. She could have been home watching TV or hanging out with her friends or having a burger someplace. She chose to come here and ask that question. Let's reward that behavior. Thank you. Please do it again and bring your friends, right? If we're as smart as we say we are, we should be able to easily handle that, easily answer that question, easily talk through it. Absolutely, yes. Thank you for that, Bob. Do you think there will be riots if Trump doesn't win the election? Most Trump supporters I've met seem easily irritated and volatile when opposed. It's funny. From what I've seen, I find most people on the left who are 100% on board with the left, they tend to be more dismissive to me and my ideas. It's like, silly, ignorant man. You don't know the world. You don't understand things. And they tend to be dismissive and basically ignore me, which is one of the reasons, by the way, you will see as I try to get people on the Sharpe Way, I struggle to get people from the left on the Sharpe Way. I try to get them on, but they're very dismissive of me. Just silly man. You don't know anything. But the Trump supporters, people on the right, they tend to be more angry, which means they want to come on and confront. So I tend to get more people from the right. I think it's true. It's a generalization. I think the left tends to be more dismissive and the right tends to be more aggressive. I think that those two, those who are the hardcore, I think they tend to be. But I think riots will happen regardless. I don't think only the right will riot. I think the left will riot too. The left rioted over the weekend. Over the summer. So I think either would riot. I think there will be sporadic violence, whatever the outcome is, right? If Trump wins, I think the left will be sporadic violence. If Trump loses, I think the right will give us sporadic violence. There's enough people on each side that are angry enough and will feel betrayed enough and cheated enough that there will be some sporadic violence either way. I think either way it will be. Not just the right, but yes, the right and also the left. I think either will be. So, all right. I managed to campaign for a guy who walked into a conservative Tea Party event. And the first thing he announced was that the age of consent should be lowered to 14. I wanted to throw myself off a bridge. He was shocked at the hate mail he received from them. Know your audience. Dude, just know your audience. I completely agree. Yes, 100%. Larry, you have been a huge part of my decision to become libertarian. Thank you. This was my first election voting libertarian. Thank you. I appreciate that. Absolutely. Yes. There is a difference between libertarian philosophy and libertarian political party. Whatever insert here, and I guess as anarchists, don't get that. You're right? I want to be clear. Someone actually asked me this during one of my events. Someone said, Larry, I don't know if I'm going to be part of a party. There are other things I could do. Let me be very clear. Some people don't believe what I'm going to say, but I believe this in my heart 100%. The Libertarian Party is not the liberty movement. They are separate. They're different, separate. There are many ways that any individual can make impact in the liberty movement. You don't have to be part of the party. Please be part of the party. I want you part of the party. But you don't have to be. You could be out doing other things that will move the needle towards liberty without having to be part of a party, without running for office, without, helping someone run, without voting. There are many things you can do. The liberty movement is a much broader, bigger tent. The party is only the political arm, exactly, of that movement. I focus heavily on the political arm. I think it's what I do well. It's the way I think we can have the most success. But without the rest of the movement, individuals don't care about the party. Activism is a critical part of what we do. Critical part. Without activism, people don't care about the issues. To Shelley's point, without people caring about those issues, I can't have answers for them if they don't care about them. The activists, they're the ones who get people to care about the issues. And then the candidates in the perfect world then have answers for those issues the activists have, put to the top, right? Moved up to the top of people's mindset. So they are different parts of the party, of the movement. Absolutely. There is a difference completely. And I don't have a problem with someone yelling about age of consent laws if they want to, or gun laws, or legalization, or whatever the case may be. They can yell at things all they want. But if they're going to run for office, they're going to be a candidate, they have to care about what that constituent cares about. If consent laws aren't an issue in your city council race, why would you bring them up? Your people don't care about them, right? If you're a candidate, that is. If you're an activist, you bring up whatever things you care about, right? If there's no drug problem in your town and people aren't talking about drugs, why would you bring up legalization? Why would you lead with that, right? Of course not. You would lead with what those people care about, even unless you're an activist, in which case you might want them to care about drug legalization or something like that, so that when a candidate comes out, they'd have an answer for it. So yes. Larry, how do we get you on the Dave Smith podcast? I've been on there twice. Where you been, brother? Twice. More popular podcasts? I'm more popular than both of them. I'm not actually, but it's fine. But yes, but no, both of them. Remember, I'm a candidate, right? Many times, right? I've been a candidate before. Dave Smith is a comedian. Different worlds, right? Different worlds. But I've been on this podcast twice already. If you have a chance, just Google Larry Sharpe, Dave Smith. I've been on more than once. Absolutely. So, and I've actually opened for Ron Paul. 2 times he did events. I was the MC of his event twice. We've already been in different events together. Absolutely. So I hope that answers your question. So, yes, guys, I want to say thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for paying attention. It does matter. Please, if you have a chance, if you can sponsor me, $10, $20, $100 to keep going, or please like, comment, and share. It does matter so that people know who we are. Thank you for watching. I'm back in action, as you can see. I'm no longer out there campaigning. We're in the last 2 weeks of this election. Please vote gold if you can, but vote no matter what. If you're not going to vote gold, vote third party at least. Don't go R or D, but please go gold if you can. Guys, have a great night. I will see you all next week, 7 p.m. We are back in action.